Yeah, you just said, yeah, the next one is too old.
All right, what's up everybody? Do we have any new, newly licensed last 6 months or so realtors in here? All right, how many square feet are in an acre?
43,000.
That's just gonna be pivotal. Every deal you do, you're gonna need to know that. First thing in a listing appointment, they ask me that question. We got any Niner fans in here? Okay, you guys can all find the door. I ain't putting you on no game. This is Raider country. All right, so my background's construction and I'm a numbers guy. So that's what I use when I'm negotiating with either the listing agent or if I'm negotiating with the sellers or if I'm negotiating with the buyer's agent. So I use that to my identity. Everyone has their own ways. So okay, so negotiating is all psychology. Most of this business is. So you kind of if you ever dealt with clients, you've been working a while, you're kind of like a therapist. You know, you're dealing with all their emotions, you're talking through it. You got to do that with other realtors too, because not everyone knows how to separate personal from business. And once it gets personal, there's no business to be had. So a lot of the times I'm having to be a therapist for the listing agent or for the buyer's agent so we can get a deal done. So you got to be able to separate both, and you'll know, if you ever had a listing agent or someone kind of go off on you, you can tell in their tone of the voice. So to start off, every successful negotiation is a win-win. Whether one party won more or not, both seller and buyer need to feel like they won. So I throw bait wins in there for the seller to feel good, because you got to think about it. The seller most of them don't know what they're looking at in that purchase agreement, okay? So they're not looking at the terms, how many close of escrow days. They care about the price. So that's what you bait them with, is price. The listing agent is the one, if they're good, is going to break down what contingencies are in there, are they asked for credit, stuff like that. So I throw in fake wins so the listing agent can feel smart to their seller, so it boosts their ego and the sellers feel like it was a good deal. So one of those ones, which is the easiest to do since we all have to do BRBCs, is I'll throw in 3% buyer's broker commission. And the first thing the listing agent is, what the hell is this? You're making more than I am. They get all ego driven. That's on purpose, because what they overlook and what they counter me on the most when I get a seller's counter is the 2.5% instead of 3%. They ignored the $20,000 seller credit. They ignored the $10,000 they're asking price. They ignored us leaving a buyer's investigation contingency. They cared about their ego. So I'll throw that in there. So I literally just did this last night, and this was a more minor one. The listing agent is actually a good friend of mine. I've known him for 6 years. He's good. And I know he can break down that purchase agreement in 60 seconds like I can. So I purposely went in, and I couldn't just throw in the typical BRBC and all that, because I'm fucking with him and he'll bust my balls for it. So I had to get more in depth with it. So in paragraph Q, item 5 and 6 is called government point of sale ordinances. And everyone thinks automatically, oh, it's just the sewer lateral or it's the gas shallow valve. So this was for the city of Alameda. So I threw that in there, and I purposely didn't specify what it was for, and I didn't submit a City of Alameda purchase agreement addendum stating who takes care of which ordinances. So I knew he would catch that instantly and be like, dude, we already did the sewer, we already did gas off. We're not gonna do the water conserving plumbing. We're not gonna do all the little things that always get deferred to the buyer. So I knew that was gonna happen. So that's the first thing. He texted me in 2 minutes. And then with negotiations, I like to stall because it makes the other party panic. So even though I knew he was I bait people. I play stupid. I do it on purpose because I know they're going to come back. So I put that in there. And then I also put for the seller pay all the city transfer tax. Usually we split 50-50. So I knew he was going to catch those two instantly. He did. Text me back. And I was like, dude, I don't know. Buyers are pretty stern on this. Buyers don't fucking care. They just told me hey, I know you do what you got to do. So I knew he was going to do that. And I was like, I'll see what I can do, but I hate for this to be a deal breaker. And then I took my wife to go see Hoppers at the movies and let it stall for 2.5 hours. So he's just sitting there thinking oh shoot, I'm not hearing back. If you ever wrote an offer and 2 hours go by and you haven't heard nothing, you're like, oh shit, it ain't going good. So I had him sweating thinking the buyers are really having a husband and wife conversation if they want to agree to this, yada, yada, yada. So then I call him back after hell missed calls, and I came out of the theater and I'm like, dude, you know what? I finally was able to get them to agree to those terms. We'll make it so it's just the sewer lateral and the gas shallow valve, and we'll split the city transfer tax. So he felt like he won. The sellers feel like they won, because they went from a $15,000 city transfer tax to now I'm paying $7,500. So they feel like they won. We won because I was able to leave a 9-day buyer's investigation contingency, because I've been advising these clients, you don't want this fucking house. It has a brick foundation. You cannot seismic retrofit that. The basement, they want to turn that into a living space. The city of Alameda is not going to get permits to do that. And they don't freaking trust me. So I was like, okay, we're going to leave a buyer's investigation, go down to the city, don't say the address because you can be liable if the city puts a red mark on that property, but get the answers yourself. Call a structural engineer, made him three-way call. Say, hey, brick foundation, Chris, you already know what to do. He does allow me brick foundations. There is no such thing as serviceable condition for a brick foundation. Everything I told them, they didn't trust. I literally told them, you don't want this property. I'm not selling you this property. So I'm gonna try to force them to back out of this, but that's what I wanted, was to protect them. Because buyers get emotional and they don't know how to protect themselves. So I throw in fake wins. So like it could be like if you're working in a city, like the county of Alameda, throw in the city transfer tax, put seller 100%. They're gonna counter that before they counter any of the credits because that's what they're thinking of. That's what the listing agent catches, right? The listing agent looks smart because he caught this little thing. You can throw in like the home warranty. Seller's gonna pay for a $1,000 home warranty. Sellers get kind of offensive when they hear that from the listing agent. It's like, why am I paying for the buyer's home warranty? Cool, counter us on $1,000 while we're taking 15 from you. Like, so I throw in fake divots. Now, if there's multiple offers, this shit ain't gonna work. Your offer is just gonna look terrible. This is like homes that have been sale on the market. I think most of you guys do like Solano County, Contra Costa, so it's a lot easier to negotiate out there. When I'm doing like city of Berkeley, Albany, there's a lot of competition. So this is like rare for me to throw these in. But just throw in fake wins, easy ones. I guarantee put 3% on all your offers, and I guarantee that's the first thing they're gonna call you about. They're not even gonna ask you about the price or anything like that. And if they accept it, which a lot of times they do, like I'm in contract with Vallejo, they're on market one day, we were the second showing, I got 3% and a 15K credit. Because I was just finessing on certain things. They didn't even know about the new sewer lateral ordinance in Vallejo, so I threw that in there too. So now they take care of the sewer, we got a 15K credit, and I get 3% commission. And then when I have 3% commission, they accept it, I call it that 0.5 wiggle room and play around money. So that's stuff where it's like, hey, if there's stuff that pops up on the report, I'll throw that money to help my buyer out. Like I want them to get this house. I'm not gonna be greedy with it, we make good money. So it's like once you throw that 3% out there, instantly they get kind of like their ego goes like, dude, I'm at 2.5, how do you do that? I'm at 2, how are you doing that? I'm like, I didn't negotiate your listing agreement, I don't know. So that's like small things I do in terms of getting it accepted. Any questions on that? I didn't make these slides, so I'm not sure. Side with more clarity. Okay, side with more clarity. Okay, yeah, so like any appointment you do, whether you're meeting a buyer, you're meeting a seller, I was just telling David this, you have to take over the conversation. If they're the ones asking you question, you're losing it because you're not the expert no more. Like the seller feels like they know more about you. They're asking you questions, you're not asking anything back. Same thing with negotiations. You have to take it over. I hate when I get a random offer submitted on my listing and the buyer's agent didn't call me one time. Didn't communicate, didn't say, hey, we're gonna write, didn't have any questions. That shows me you don't know what you're doing. And I can't trust you to write a smooth escrow along. So it's like if there's an offer date, there's anything, I'm calling them, I'm having like great conversation. I'm trying to be their best friend and let them know like I'm the smoothest transaction you're gonna have. Because ultimately that's what you want. Like we've all probably been in escrow where it's been like the worst escrow ever. The other agent doesn't know what they're doing and it sucks. No one wants to deal with that because it makes them look bad to their sellers, it makes them look bad to their buyers. So you wanna control all of that. By me throwing in these bait wins, that's me controlling it. Because I know it's gonna attack them in one way or another, and then they're gonna come back and they'll look like it. Like him, he's experienced, like the guy I'm talking about yesterday, he's experienced, he knows me. If I did like a big mistake, he'll know something's up, I'm baiting him. So I did the small things to where he could feel good, like, oh man, Andrew's a killer, and I just had to correct his purchase agreement. He didn't know what he was doing, yada, yada, yada. He feels good about it, I don't care, we got our offer accepted. So it's like, you just gotta bait him in a little bit. Offer date strategy. You guys, I don't know if like Solano County does like offer dates because I don't know how, like what the temptation is, but in the city of Alameda, Berkeley, Albany, it's hot as hell and it's always hot as hell as a market. So they usually have like 2 weekends open houses, offer day on like a Tuesday or Wednesday at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. So this works every time, and when I mean every time, it doesn't mean I always get the house for my clients. It means I either get the house for them or I help them avoid the emotional roller coaster. So if it's like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, I call them at 10. Hey, the husband or wife is in a Zoom call. Like we are submitting, but it's gonna take some time. He'll be out in like 15, 20 minutes. Cool, we're not gonna say no to another offer. Come like 10:30, I call him back and I'm like, hey, he's about to get out, he's about to sign, but how many offers did you actually get? And oh yeah, we got 6 in hand. Okay, cool. Hey, you know, because every listing agent's worked with buyers before, so they've been through this. So I let them know like, hey, give them a sob story. We've lost out on multiple offers, you know, like if we lose another one, they're probably just gonna like back out of the market, and I just want to avoid that. Like, and then me and my clients, we already talked about price head. So they're like, hey, 950 is what we're comfortable with. I always start lower. I'm like, does 920 get it done? And usually their tone of voice will say it if they don't actually say it. Most of the time they're like, yeah, we're at 970 non-contingent. All right, cool, let me see what I can do. Click, call the clients. Hey, 970 gets it done. 975 guarantees it. Do you want to do that? Yes or no? If they say yes, we get the house. If they say no, they avoided the emotional roller coaster, which is when you submit an offer, instantly they're excited. They're already saying my couch is gonna fit here, TV here. Then 30 minutes goes by, and then they're kind of like, okay, we haven't heard from Andrew. And then an hour and a half go by, because you don't get no calls saying your offer is accepted, you just get ghosted. So after a couple hours go by, they start feeling like shit. They're like, oh fuck, we should have offered more. We should have went all in for it. We didn't, we thought we'd get a deal. When someone gets their offer, like that emotional roller coaster, and then the house they love they didn't get, guess what? That's when they start ghosting you. Because then they start thinking the market's too hot. Maybe we should wait till next year. Maybe it's just not the time for us, because they just got their hopes let down. So when they get to say, hey, this gets it done, and they're like, nah, it's not worth it. They said no to that house. So it doesn't even affect them. They're already sending me Zillow links, and then like a couple minutes later, can we go see this one now? Can we go see this one? So it's all about the mindset. You gotta put yourself in their shoes. This is our job. Like I was saying, David, on Saturday and Sunday, we showed 10, 12 homes. That's our job. You gotta understand, these buyers worked Monday through Friday, and they're taking their Saturday day off to go on a stressful home shopping, touring homes, getting offers, declined, stressing with lenders. That is stressful. They get burnt out too. So if you feel burnt out, eat that shit. That's what we signed up for. They're getting burnt out. And when they get burnt out, that's when they ghost you. And then when they ghost you and they take a week off, they get comfortable because they're in their comfort zone that they've been in for the last X amount of years. And then they ghost you and they never end up buying a house. Or you don't hear back for like a year later when they get enthusiastic about it again. So help them avoid that. So literally, if you just call on the offer day, this is just for offer date scenarios, like brand new listings. If shit's been sitting on the market, oh, you're just licking your lips to fucking negotiate with them. But like offer date, just call. You'll be surprised. And you'll get like, some of the listing agents where the DREs like starts with 0, you're gonna get the, I can't do that, I can't show the price. And then you gotta put them in their place and be like, in the listing agreement, who are you working for? Are you working for these 6 other buyers agent or for the damn sellers? Because I'm telling you, we can go higher than your highest offer. So are you telling your seller you don't want to make them extra 5 to 10K? And then they kind of turn it around and they try to use some real estate terms with you, they'll end up breaking. And then when I'm negotiating all this, I say monotone. Like there's like listing agents, buyers agents, I can hear it when I am like, hey, we're gonna counter this. They get excited. I'm like, oh, okay, we got more wiggle room. Like you just let me know that you think you get a good deal. So then I'll go higher with them. Same thing, when they're kind of down, it's like, okay, I'm testing them a little too much. Let me get a little bit higher in certain things. So I'm monotone the whole time. Even when I get something back, like yesterday, and he was like, dude, we're gonna accept it. I'm like, all right, cool, man, cool. Deep down, I was like, fuck yeah. Because I get 9 more days to try to talk my buyers out of this house. Like I'm literally trying to talk them out. So offer day strategy, it's simple as that. Like I literally just, I stall it through so we're the last offer. Same thing when you're going to a listing appointment. The seller's like, Andrew, I'm gonna interview 7 realtors. Cool, you should. Respectfully, I just ask, can I be the last appointment? Let the 7 do the typical CMAs and all that bullshit, and I'll come in and close it for you guys. So it's the same thing. You're just stalling that shit out. Because offer day's 10 a.m., they're not talking to the seller till like 12 or 1 p.m., so you have plenty of time. It's funny because all the Alameda top agents, they know this, so I don't even have to do this shit no more. I just text them. The offer day's at 10, I'll text them, I'll call you at 10:30, and they just put like a laughing emoji because they know I'm gonna do this to them. Why most deals fall apart? I mean, negotiations, like there is no set in stone what to do. Like each property is different, each seller's different, each listing agent's different. I think Bill said it best, you gotta kind of like mock their personality. Some people are more stern, so you gotta be on that business stern. Some are super cool where I'm just cracking jokes with them and trying to be their best friend to where like when we do get into it, it's not personal. Because you gotta understand, the listing agent, you have to be on the same page with them. And you gotta prepare. So like if you're gonna leave a appraisal contingency, right? Anything that you're leaving in that they're gonna question, like if you were the listing agent, like why are you leaving a 7-day loan contingency? You have to have the answer ready so when you call them. So if you're submitting a bad offer like that, like we're leaving a appraisal, we're leaving a buyer's investigation, we're closing in 32 days, they're gonna be like, why? So when you submit it, you call and you give them the reasoning up front. Hey, we're leaving an appraisal. I already got the comps, not worried about it, but it's a first-time home buyer. You know how they are. We've all worked with the scared first-time home buyers. I'm not worried about it. We're good. Okay, we crossed that out. Buyer's investigation. Oh, they just want to get a second opinion on this. I'm not worried about it. My background's construction, so I'm not worried about it. We just want to know what needs to be done. I have guys that can do it cheaper. So you kind of like calm their nerves. Because like the University of Berkeley, I help a lot of professors there. They have their own loan program called the MOP loan program, and it sucks. So it's like, it takes 17 days to get an appraisal back. Close of escrow will be like 35 plus days. It's hard when you're competing in Berkeley in general, let alone with these terms. So I'll bait price that shit. I always tell my buyers, it's easier to negotiate once you're in contract than to get into contract. So I'll throw like a 3-day appraisal in there. I'll throw like a 21-day close of escrow. We get to day 3 and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need a 10-day extension. And they're like, dude, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you can go back to market, but it really affects the house because it's gonna say BOM and buyers are like, what's wrong with this? Why did a buyer back out 3 days? They don't care in confidential marketing. You say no fault to the property. What are you gonna say? Yeah, the foundation shot? No shit, like it's gonna make it nervous. So they'll negotiate and I'll like BS them, like this was my first time doing this loan program. I didn't know this, my bad. I'll be the fall guy. I don't care because I don't want the seller to get personal with the buyer because when that happens, there is none to be met. I'm the fall guy. I look like I don't know what I'm doing. I am just playing stupid with you guys to get this deal going. If I leave a 17-day appraisal, I'm not ever gonna get anything accepted in Berkeley. Credits and repairs. So this is the easiest way to negotiate. So as you know, pest inspection has dollar signs, home inspection does not. So with me, I'm in the field doing all these repairs, so I know the dollar amount. And I can make them higher because most realtors don't know. So if it's like, oh, the furnace passed its life, all right, that's 17 grand. The roof needs to get replaced, all right, that's 23 to 26 grand. Oh, there's some foundation size and retrofitting. Like I can put numbers to it to where when I submit a really, really lowball offer with a huge credit, I have a spreadsheet of why. So that way the seller's not pissed while we're offering 80 grand less. It's like, this is what the buyers are thinking. It takes that personal out. We're not trying to offend you with this offer. This is what we're thinking. And taking 80K, and I explained it to them, it's not like we're saving 80K out of pocket. You know what I mean? We're saving 80K on a 30-year loan. We still have to put a $200,000 down payment plus 80K out of pocket on ugly repairs. This isn't like remodeling a kitchen. You don't get to enjoy this. You're replacing shit that you don't see under the house. So this is the easiest one to negotiate. Every house has issues. I don't know if you guys done new construction. You should still get your own personal home inspection on that. All because they built that and it's new. All these developers have, they're cool with all the city inspectors and everything like that. It's shoddy work. There's a reason why those plywood boxes get built in 3 months. So you still should get an inspection done to renegotiate. So like Solano County and stuff, all you guys usually don't even get like inspections up front. You guys let the buyers do it, which is like crazy work because that's even easier for you as a buyer's agent to do this. So use it to your advantage. If you're in contract, that contract really doesn't mean shit until you come back to renegotiate. So like any little thing you find, pest work that needs to be done, anything, this is what you blame it on. Even if you don't plan on doing the repairs, like it's just some fungus damage to a window trim and it's not a big deal, that's still, and these pest companies overprice the shit out of it. They will charge like $1,200 for that. Get $1,200 credit. That helps for closing cost. So that's the easiest one. Does anyone have any questions on this? And it's difficult if you don't know construction. So what I would recommend is like, if you have a good GC or something, and they'll want to partner with you because you get them a lot of business, be like, can you break down a home inspection with me and what usually gets called out? And just roughly, or text them, hey, I'm at this house, it needs a new roof, roughly, how much would it cost? And that way you have a price to work with. And then I always put it higher because it makes the buyers feel good that if I'm like, oh, it's 27K, and then my guy gets it done for like 21, they're like, oh shit, I saved 6K. So I always make it a little bit higher with it. And then for most listing agents, they don't really know about repairs, or if they're like, hey, we want to get inspections done, or we want to see like a written report, I have people that can do the written report for it and price it for it.
I got something to hit on this because I literally just had a conversation yesterday with the seller, and they're asking about should we do inspections, should we not do inspections prior to. I always let people know. It depends on the type of home, depends on like what kind of work we did to it, what we did, what we didn't do. But one of the things I told them, I said, look, you got 2 options. I said, do you know anything crazy about your home? Any like major repairs that you know about that we should be aware of? Like, so number one, I always do termite inspection before I do any remodeling, just to get under the home to make sure that there's no dry rot, because you never want to put flooring down on something that they're going to rip up. So termites always something that I always do, but they got under there, everything checked out. The thing was now is the question mark of should we do home inspection? Because they had concern about the old electrical. How many of you guys had a buyer that got a contract and you do inspections and then they find out, oh, it has really old electrical, and the home inspector is like, this is fire hazard, it needs to be replaced, and it just kills like the deal almost, like, right? So what happens is, if you let somebody know that up front about the electrical, it has old this, old that, like it's an old home. Like we make it look really clean and it doesn't, like cosmetically, it looks perfect. But we all know it's an old home. So I had 2 options for them. I said, do you guys want to do a home inspection? And if you guys do a home inspection, we're going to let everybody know up front all of these problems. Versus don't do inspections, nobody knows these problems going in. They're seeing this amazing, beautiful house. We're getting a bunch of people to write offers on it. We get a really high offer, and now they do their own inspection, and we already know they're gonna find problems about the electrical and these other things. But guess what? They're emotionally attached now to this home more than if they knew about these problems before they went in. So I gave them that option. Like, you never want to and they just bought a home in Arkansas, and they just did a bunch of inspections. They hated the home after the inspection reports. Guess what? They're still closing on it because they are emotionally attached. They went all the way to Arkansas to go look at this home. They went all the way there, and if they told me, like literally straight up, they're like, if we saw these reports before we went, we would never even went and bought this home. So I think there's two sides to every story. I'm not from the Alameda Berkeley area, and I know that I frustrate the hell out of people because I don't do inspections on every listing that I have. But I also like to play that emotional game, and I'm willing to play it knowing that buyers are going to be emotionally attached, and now I'm playing the feelings versus, them wanting to write a discount offer based on a Rusca coming in and throwing me a list of all of these repairs that it needs before he even writes the offer. I'd rather start high, and then I can negotiate down. Because now I got all these backup offers. Because I could be like, okay, well, if you're not okay with this electrical repair, I'm going to go back to these other buyers that wrote an offer and see if they are. So there's two sides to every story, and that's where you have to kind of it's your seller's choice, not your choice. So just know, I literally just had that conversation yesterday. So.
I use a main electrical panel all the time too. I'm like, dude, we can't get insurance on it. And most people just believe it, you can't get insurance on it. Because most of like I said, they're older homes. Most of them have older electrical main panels. And then so that right there, you can just throw $7,000 at it and get it and be like, we can't even close if we wanted to not fix it because insurance, even though it's not the truth, but it just gets people. But yeah, it's everything, like I said, everything negotiation, it's on a deal to deal basis. Every deal is gonna be different. There is no set in stone, just playbook that you can use this for every single deal. Every city is different, every county is different, every property is different. You have HOAs, you don't have HOAs, you're in flood zones, things like that. Everything's different. It's kind of just to open your minds to think differently when you get into these different situations. Okay, so this can go on the buy side and the list side. Buy side's pretty easy. I just tell my clients I'm gonna negotiate the seller to pay for it so you don't have to worry about it. I legit tell them you'll never have to pay me in a house. If I can't negotiate the seller to do it and you still love the house, I'll do it for free. If the broker will let me. If not, I'll do it for $100, whatever. So this is pretty easy on the buy side. Now list side, this is fun. It doesn't pop up as much as people think with sellers, but it's because you gotta show your value first. So last year, I sold this property in Berkeley, and the buyer's colleagues were referred to me by them. The house right next door, the seller was on market with for overpriced 1.7, took it off, but the buyer called me and was like, hey, she's still willing to sell. So I called her up and I'm like, all right, well, I got clients who were interested at the time, but not for the price they wanted. So I call her and she's an attorney. So, you gotta deal with the attorney logo and all that, stuff. She's super strict. She wanted to do it for 1.5%. And I was gonna basically do both. I don't personally dual agent. I'll give a junior agent one side and cut them a referral fee, but I'll never have my name on both. So on the buy side, she was cool with the 2.5. On the sell side, she wanted to knock it at 1.5. So she was like, what she wanted was, what she was realistic now, she was listed for 1.7 something. It was 1.6, right? And she wanted to do for 1.5%. So usually people realtors kind of panic with this question when it comes to commission, what do I say, yada, yada. Provide value. So this is how I provided value. So I said, Mrs. Seller, we're talking about 1% here. So we're talking about $16,500, right? And this is where the number side is coming to me. I said, that's a lot of money. I totally understand that is a lot of money. This isn't just throwaway money. So let me show you some value, just real quick, just a couple things to see if I'm worth it for you. First one was, I said, you don't want to sell for $1,650,000. She said, yes, I do. That's what my home's worth. And I said, no, your home's worth that, but you don't want to sell it for that because in the city of Berkeley, city transfer tax under 1.6 million is 1.5%. Once you hit 1.6 in a penny, it's 2.5%. So if you sell for 1,650, you're paying an extra 1%, which is 16,500. Is there another one? Anyway, so that's usually 50-50. So I was like, that alone right there covers the commission that you didn't want to pay me, right? That knowledge right there just helped you, okay? Because you're going to pay 1.5%, but then you would have paid another 1% anyway, except you would have paid it to Uncle Sam of the city of Berkeley. So I said, that saves you $8,250 right there, all right? So half of what you don't want to pay me is saved from that 5 seconds of knowledge of me knowing this city, okay? Second thing, I looked at your historic reports. There is no sewer lateral inspection in there, and you have to at least provide a sewer lateral inspection. You're in the hill, it was in the Berkeley Hills. I was like, I seen your clean out. It's on the top back end of the property. So to get all the way down, and she hasn't done it, she owned it for like 50 years. I was like, that's gonna have to be replaced. To trench all the way down is gonna be very expensive. We're not talking about the typical like $6,500. That could easily be, you know, $9,000 to $10,000 alone. And then you get hit with what's called a PIMA tax. And she was like, what's that? And I said, it's a pain in my ass tax. These companies, they don't want to do these works. It's hard to get the equipment up a 30-foot trench that's all mud. So I was like, you're probably gonna get hit with another $2,000 to $3,000. So let's just play it safe all in, $11,000. Now you don't have to do this, we can defer it, but we gotta disclose it to help the sale. With that being said, a buyer's gonna look at that and they might try to negotiate with it, but just keep that in mind. So this isn't a guarantee. Then she goes, well, I think I can get more money if I wait till 2026. And I was like, you know what? You might. No one has a crystal ball. It could be better. I told her, I was like, it might be better. Here's the thing that's going to shoot you in the foot. In Berkeley, you have to get what's called a BASO energy report, meaning you have to get at least a 6 out of 10 to make sure your property is energy efficient, whether it's like flowing toilets, furnaces, all that. And I said, right now, up to the end of 2025, we can defer that like it's nothing, how it should be. Once January 1st happens, 12 a.m. on January 1st, while we're getting tipsy drunk for New Year's, it changes to where you as the seller have to do it. You can't sell your house until it passes. Well, you haven't done any upgrades in this house the last 50 years, and this home is over 2,600 square feet. So it's not like what we usually can do, which is fix a sub panel or fix a couple of the toilets, and you get a 6 automatically. This is too much square footage. You're gonna have to replace a furnace. So a furnace for this size of a home, automatically with no duct work, you're looking between 14 to 16K, which if you wait to 2026, you're gonna have to pay. And on top of that, that's just what it typically costs. Once again, you're gonna get a PIMA tax to this because your big furnace that can't fit is in the smallest crawl space at the very end of the property where it's sloped like hell. So you're gonna get another probably $2,000 to $3,000 pain in my ass tax. It is what it is. They won't tell you that, but they're gonna upcharge you. So let's play the safe case. We're at 16K here, right? So I said, let's do the math. Let's just say the 8250 and the 16, let's wait till 2026. That's already about $24,250, and you're talking about 16.5 is what you don't want to pay. Now, these are just 3 options, Mrs. Seller. I haven't even gone through my whole list, but I'm not going to give you that list because you want a 1.5% realtor, which you had before, who couldn't sell your house. Did this 1.5% realtor tell you about these? Because you seem very surprised. No, they didn't tell me. And I said, yeah, because you'll find 1.5% realtors, and I call them, excuse my drawings, green thumbs. And I burp the green thumb babies. It's because I'm worth what I'm asking for. You don't have to hire me, that's totally fine. But if these 3 concern you, right? And I told her, you can take this knowledge that you know now, you're an attorney, you're very smart, and you can, give this to the 1.5% agent. There's more in Berkeley that I am not going to share with you because I am not signed and I'm not working for you yet. So I wish the best for you, and I'll be on the buy side. And you see how I run numbers super quickly. Just know that's what you're going to be dealing with when I come in with my offer. So just know everything that your realtor doesn't know about, I'm going to fuck them with this. And that happens, and that's a domino effect that's going to fuck you. And usually I'd rather take you out to dinner first before that happens. And then so she laughed and she was like, Andrew, okay, let me think about it. I want to do it. And she eventually broke to it and got 2.5. And then before she even just said, I want to use you, I was like, let me just do one more thing outside the real estate side. Let's go to the capital gains. Okay, you've owned this property for a lot. You're not married. I see that your loan amount's only $250K, so you're gonna have about $1.5 million gross, maybe 1.45 after commissions. I was like, that's a lot of capital gains. I was like, usually if it was closer to 500K, I could find you like a distant cousin that can marry you real quick so you can get that little 500K gap, but we're not talking that kind of money no more. So I was like, you're an attorney. I was like, how good of an attorney are you? She was like, I'm really good. I'm like, are you 22% or 35% good? And she was like, what? And I was like, taxes. How much do you make? because that's going to determine how much taxes you're going to pay on the capital gains. So I told her, we can get this number very simple because city transfer tax is expensive. We don't want the sales price to be this, right? Because that is going to be more taxes you're paying out of pocket on the sale of the property and more taxes that you grossed on the sale of the property. So we want to sell for $1,599.99, which city transfer tax goes to $23,998, so $24K, versus it being like 40-something thousand and you split in half. So that saved you money there. Then we'll have the buyers pay the city transfer tax, because I told them, I was like, my buyers, they know this is what you want and they're cool with that. We got the money to do this. It helps them too, because that's higher property taxes. That's higher monthly payments. So it's a win-win on both sides. You're getting your net number without it being you paying more taxes, and my clients are getting what they want with lower property taxes and stuff like that. We have the money to play with. So we'll pay the city transfer tax, we'll pay the county transfer tax, which doesn't affect much. We'll take on the sewer lateral. We'll inherit, because it's 2025, the base oil port that's not functioning. We'll get a furnace done while they live there. So all that right there is about $50K, and that saved you and got you the same net. And that's when she was like, Andrew, let's get it done. And then I had a new agent do it so he can say he was a listing agent on 1.65 in Berkeley. He got the stat. So you got it, when you're talking about commissions and compensation, you got to understand, you got to provide value first. You can't just go in there and be like, no, well, it's the standard's 2.5, that's what I charge. Or like a lot of realtors, they fold instantly. They're like, okay, I'll do 1.5. Like, especially people that don't get a lot of listings, like they just want listings, they'll fold instantly. They're like, yeah, I'll do 1.5. I'm like, it's not worth 1.5. Like, you're an attorney, you're being really difficult to work with already. You gotta understand, these are illegal contracts. Like, all because everything went smooth, you close escrow, a couple years later, they can come back and sue your ass. That's why I won't dual agent for a quick check. How do you improve in court where you already look like the devil to the judge and to everyone else? I did what's best for the seller and the buyer. You can't. So I'll put, Timothy on the listing side, and I'm over here. Sorry, Timothy, but you're about to get chewed up if shit hits the fan. But that's what I do to defer away from that. But you got to show value. And then on the buy side, same thing. I show them value by saying, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you are never going to walk in a home without knowing everything about it. Just like how I make the spreadsheet I send to the listing agent about the repairs, I do the same thing for my buyers. What needs to be done immediately within the next 3 to 6 months, within the next year, and things to look out for the next 2 to 5 years. And then I follow up with them after they buy the home, because everyone gets a home inspection when they buy a house, they live in it 10 years, don't do shit, and then they get a home inspection when they go to sell. They're like, whoa, we didn't have wood boring beetles when we bought it. Like, they come up. If you have drains and leaks under the house, no one's going under the house. So like heavy flows and heavy rains, like it sucks touring homes in the rain, but I tell my clients it's the best time, because we can see things that you won't see in the summertime. So it's like, that's how I provide my value. Bill's probably gonna get pissed at me about this, but since the real estate has changed, I've never had a BRBC sign. I just build trust in my clients. Never had them leave me, nothing. I get it signed when I'm getting the listing agreement. I send out the purchase agreement for them to sign at the same time. And I'm like, hey, I wasn't supposed to show you any homes, but I didn't want to do the paperwork and I didn't want you to feel stuck with me, but yeah, we gotta get this signed so I can submit this offer for you. And they usually laugh, like, okay, cool. And I'm like, and by the way, I put 3%, watch, they're gonna counter on that, they're not gonna counter on the 15K credit. And then it came back, just like the one in Pittsburgh, it came back. They counter on that and nothing else. And they just laughed their ass off. And I was like, I'm your shield. I throw myself out there so you guys can get what you want. Because at the end of the day, I want to do what's best for the seller if I'm a listing agent, and I want to do what's best for the buyer if I'm the buyer's agent. So like each scenario is different. If there was no capital gains tax involved, there wouldn't be as much savings to provide value to get them to this number. So like, do you guys get how I got to like these and everything like that? Now, Solano County is a little different because there's not a lot of city transfer tax. I think like Vallejo is the only one in Solano County that has city transfer tax, but it's so minimal that it's not much. So like for instance, the Vallejo one that I got in contract on the buy side in the first day on market, not only did I get it a 15K credit, got it basically at the asking price with the credit, but on top of that, I had them take care of the sewer lateral. On top of that, they didn't even know about the city transfer tax about Vallejo, because a lot of people don't. They assume like it's just like every other city in Solano. So they paid that as well, which is very small, but that's extra $2,400 I saved my clients. Or if they split it, that's extra $1,200 I saved them out of pocket. So I showed them the value of that. And then I went and like they did get a home inspection, but in one of the photos, it wasn't called out, it was under the house. And I see in the very back corner, it was the waste pipe, and it looked corroded as hell. So I told my clients, like, we're gonna leave buyer's investigation because the home inspector didn't call it out, but if that is like the whole pipe's corroded like that, it needs to get replaced. And so they're like, okay, let's do it. brought my plumber out, it needed to get replaced. The whole thing was corroded. So even though these inspectors are inspectors, only the pest inspector is licensed. Home inspectors don't need to be licensed. They're usually like someone's dad who used to be in construction and now they do inspections. I like to bring out actual general licensed contractors, plumbers, electricians, not these home inspectors, because they pass by a lot of these things. They don't know what they're doing. So then I was able to go back and negotiate another $4,500 to get that replaced. So it's like, they feel like they won because they got an offer accepted first. And then what I also do is I kind of feel out what the seller is. You know, in this situation, the mother had passed. It's 2 sons who grew up at the house. So they have an emotional attachment to that, right? So if I'm gonna come in with this FU disrespectful offer, I need to match that emotion. My clients have 4 children. So I said, hey, this is a family of 6 that doesn't really have money because their budget was $500K. As you know, doesn't really get you shit, especially to fit 6 people. And I was like, this is gonna be their forever home. So probably not, but you got to sell that. This is going to be the forever home. They love it. The kids were playing in the backyard forever. And just like sell that emotion so they can relay that to the seller. So then the seller's like, you know what, we were hoping for more, but we're happy another family's going to cherish this. It also helped that we were the second showing and it was raining. The first showing, the buyer's agent stepped all in the mud, tracked it in the house, texted the listing agent to tell him that they did that. And then so I called her and I was like, after I showed mine, I saw the text and I called her. I was like, well, you know what they say when you just get licensed in real estate, you lose like 75 IQ points. And then so she laughed, we got that bond and I was like, I'm not a headache like that. I use common sense, so let's get a deal done. And I was like, I'm doing you a favor too. Like, you don't have to do open houses in the rain and waste your time. And then they'll hit you with, well, like our offer date's next Saturday or next Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, well, let's fast forward. Let's say it's next Tuesday. We're already 7 days in escrow. We got 7 more to go and we can close. So like you're gonna get like objections. It's kind of like when you're cold calling, you just gotta flow with it. I personally, my personality, I crack jokes with it. Like I did a showing a week and a half ago. It was an open house. My clients went in. It was one of those old school realtors who give you that. Like, it's like so dramatically contagious. But when we were walking out, they just looked at him and just started busting out. And I was just like, fuck. I didn't mean to do them like that. But that's like, it's just like have fun. Like I said, with buyers and sellers, like when the markets are changing, like I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but like January and February was kind of hot. It was like listing time. I have a bunch of listings right now, and even though they're priced right, good neighborhoods, we're seeing a little bit of stall. And we kind of see that in April because, you know, each school district now has like different spring break. There's Easter weekend. People are going on vacation. And then realtors think once they're back from vacation, they're ready to buy. It's like, you understand, they just spent like 10, 15, 20K out of pocket. They're not really comfortable to go push another 50K into a down payment right now. They want to save up a little bit. So it's always like, it's stalling a little bit. But you got to understand on the buy side, like I said before, they get burnt out too. So what I do is I show them my value, that I know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna make sure that you know everything about this house, but I have fun with them, like a friend. I want them to look at me as like, hey, this is my friend, because they don't know what they're doing. Like everyone assumes they know. Most of the buyers, even the sellers, they have no clue what they're doing. They're Googling how to buy a house. It's stressful. It's like, it's a big purchase. They're gonna see a lot of their savings go out the door. So it's like, I'm here to calm their nerves and make it fun. So when they're wasting their days off with me on Saturdays, 3 weeks in a row, they're having fun with it. We're cracking up. We're grabbing beers after. We're having a good time. So that way they don't get burnt out. On the listing side, things are great when it's a hot market. But when it's been 30 days on the market and it's still sitting there, you've done a price drop, you've done a second price drop, no showings, sellers start to panic because they're paying that mortgage. They've already moved out, they're paying a rent, they're paying another mortgage. Like, it's stressful for them too. So you got to be able to like calm their nerves, know about the market. Like, you gotta let them know. The stock market, because when you're dealing with like Berkeley and stuff at these price points, a lot of the down payment is coming from brokerage accounts, retirement accounts, and all that. So when the stock market gets affected, so does the buyer's budget. No one wants to sell at a 15% loss on the stocks to buy an asset that's not really an asset until you sell it, that it's gonna be double what the rent is. So you gotta understand that so you can provide that to the sellers and you can provide that to the buyers. Also, you need to be able to provide that to the listing agent. Hey, our budget was $650, but hey, the stocks are down kind of right now. Their company, stocks, they don't want to go $650. 6 is their max. When you submit an offer, don't ever submit an offer with a pre-approval letter higher than what you offered. Go to the lender and be like, hey, we're offering $625, I need a $625. Because like if you submit $950 and you said, I got $1 million, I'm about to squeeze you for every penny out of that $50,000 gap. Like you just set yourself up. What I submitted last night, their max was like 1.1, we spent at $980. This is the max we have. We don't have anywhere to negotiate. And this was a tough one because the sellers paid $115 back in the heat of the market. So they're already bringing like $80K to the table. The extra $10K was just like, now we have to go into our retirement accounts. We don't want to do that. So I just had to play stern. We have $980 to work with. We don't have any extra money for closing costs. We can't work out any of the terms. That's our fucking max. I guess the seller's gonna have to move back in. Like I play it to where like we're okay with moving, because he tried to use that against me. Well, the sellers just move back in. Well, they would have moved back in then. Like, so I'll hit him like, okay, you know, it sucks. Have you guys ever negotiated a deal and like you're like $5,000 away and the deal doesn't go through? Yeah. So when that happens, you got to make them feel like shit. Like, dude, the market. What city is it in?
It's in Pittsburgh. It's a condo. It's listed at $399. Been on the market last year. They took it off the market. They priced it too high for like $450. And I'm talking with him. He came in with an offer of about $390, over $10,000. He's like, nah, my seller, she'll just keep it. She'll keep it on the market. He came off of it. My buyer wants to resubmit this week, so I'm thinking about going lower than $390, so we can meet right in the middle at our initial offer last month.
So you got to think about Pittsburgh already has more inventory than demand right now. Yeah. And anyone looking at Pittsburgh, a lot of them are also looking in like Antioch, Bay Point, you know, in a condo. No, those things sit forever. Exactly. So what I would do is like when people try to like get sassy, like, oh, like they can move back in, yada yada. I'm like, all right, when I call you a month from now and it's still there, can we get back to business? Yeah, like it's literally like, can we get back to business? And then that kind of like sets the listing agent, because you got to think about it, the listing agent doesn't get paid to list a home. He gets paid to sell it. So you got to kind of get into their ego to be like, bro, you're not even going to see a check from this. How much did you spend in marketing? How many hours did you spend in open houses for this? Like, and as a listing agent, when it sits like that and you have a stubborn seller, it's stressful on you. It's taking time away from you to go do other business.
He's been texting me like back and forth, just sending me different programs. He's like, you can get your buyer in this program. You can do this and that.
Honestly, I would ask him, like, if you're cool with it, can we hop on a 3-way call to the seller? I did one in 2024 in Pleasant Hill. It was a fixer-upper. It was an investor. I flip houses. I know it is. The listing agent, like, she was like crying on the phone, and she's big in that area, but she doesn't deal with investors. Investors are stubborn as fuck. The numbers mean everything. Well, they're just gonna rent it and wait for a better market. And I was like, dude, that's not, doesn't even make sense. Like, I know what their interest rate probably is, and I was doing the math, like, this is how much they're losing each month, and it's gonna take 6 months to what they're gapped for. She was like, can you talk to the seller? And I was like, absolutely. Hopped on a call with him and his partner. And I did the same thing, broke down numbers. Okay, I was like, how many homes you flip? This is our 4th. Okay, so hard money lenders, that's considered new. That's a huge risk for them. So you're probably anywhere from like 12 to 14%. Sorry, this marker's not full. 12 to 14%. And I was like, what's your loan amount on it? You put 10%, 20%, 10%. Okay, so you got about $890 loan amount. So your monthly, just on like a basic mortgage calculator at the time, I want to say it was like $8,900 or something like that. And I was okay, you want to rent it till next spring. It's October, we're talking 6 months. Rent in Pleasant Hill for like a 4.2 in this neighborhood, which isn't the most desirable. It's not even the most desirable. I was like, at best, $4,500. So we're talking about a $4,400 loss a month. I mean, if you just did 6 months by the 4, that's $24,000 and then another $2,400. So you're talking about $26,200. We're about $30,000 away in gap. And that's not including relisting it and how long it'll take to sell. So you're going to be stubborn. So the sales price looks like you won on the flip, but behind closed doors, you're losing an extra $15K on the flip. Plus your money's tied in there. So if another good deal gets crossed from you, you're not gonna be able to even jump on that. And then they accepted our offer that night. It's like you just have to provide the value and break down. Like I said, buyers and sellers and a lot of agents, it's all about the sales price. Sellers want the top price, buyers want the lowest price. It's not always the best to do that. Same thing on the buy side. I did the same thing with my buyers for this Alameda one. They were like, do we do a 20K credit or do we do 20K off the sales price? And I said, well, let's break it down. This was our options, and I was on a call for an hour because they have like so many newbie questions about it. Or we offer $1 million with a 20K credit, right? That's cool. You save 20K out of pocket. That's a lot of money. But what they don't keep in mind is the extra 20K, because they're putting 20% down, is going to be an extra $4,000 down payment. So it's really a 16K savings. Now I'm like, okay, now let's talk to the lender and let's see how much less your mortgage payment will be with $1,980,000. It came out, and just to give you an understanding when you're negotiating like price on the sales price, roughly every 100K that you negotiate is about $650 on the mortgage payment. So I'm like, all right, let's break it down. It came out to like 100, it was like some odd numbers, like 162.5 a month is like how much more it would have been, right? So I was like, okay, let's times that by 12, came out to like 1950. Okay, now let's divide 1950 by the 16 upfront costs. Let's see how many years it would take you to save that 16K up front if you chose the lower mortgage. I think it came out to like, you guys can pull out a calculator, I think it came out to like 12.8 years. So I was like, okay, buyer, because we're advising them, right? My job is to give them options, like Bill said, so they can make the best decision for themselves. I'm never gonna point myself like this is better. I'm not in their shoes. It's not my money. It's not my deal. So I just give them options. So, okay, 20K up front, 16K out of pocket. That's awesome. It's a lot of money. Or you take the lower mortgage and you save that 16K in 12.8 years. One, are you going to be there this long? Because if you're not, you didn't save that money. You wasted negotiation. Two, are you ever going to refinance within that 12 years? I'm never going to tell my client, date the rate, marry the house, like everyone was dancing on TikTok about for 4 years. And then also three, I guess that was only two. I don't know what three was. But yeah, so basically it's just like you break it down. Like, do you want the lower monthly payment or do you want this? So I told him this. I was like, guess what? If you took this $16,000 and you put it in the stock market, not like gambling on like Tesla stocks, but if you just did like ETFs, mutual funds, play it kind of safe, you'd have to get, I think it came out to like an 8.8% return on this 16K to get to make $1950 a year. And then compound interest next year is going to be more because it's going to be higher and higher. So I broke it all down to them, and they were like, you know what? We want the lower monthly payment. Cool. That's good with you. They asked me, they always ask, what would you do? And I was like, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm great with finances. I would take the 16K, and my returns are more like 13 to 15.5%. That's what I would do. If you don't know that type of stuff, if you don't have CPAs and stuff, do what's comfortable with you. You got it's your money, it's your house. So you got to like break down the numbers when you're doing these type of like negotiations, because a lot of people will just be like, let's do the credit. Well, the buyers didn't want the credit, but you didn't give them the option. You just chose for them. Or you're like, let's negotiate 20K off the price. What if they wanted to save 16K out of pocket to do some repairs or remodel a bathroom or whatnot? So you got to be able to break down the numbers so that you can give them the best options possible before you even know what you're going to use to negotiate. Like, don't ever speak for your clients unless they tell you, hey, you can speak for me. My buyers and sellers, I sit them down, I show them my worth first before they hire me. And then when it gets to that point where we're writing an offer or we're about to receive offers, they legit tell me, Andrew, do what you gotta do. I trust you, so they let me speak for them. I haven't put it in writing. You want me to speak for them? Do it. Unless it's like really, really like niche, then I'll give them a call. But I always pre-negotiate. So I don't ever submit an offer without knowing I'm gonna get the offer accepted, or I can, just avoid that whole emotional roller coaster. I never just submit it 50-50 chance. I don't do that. I don't like to waste time. I don't like to waste my client's time. I don't like to waste my time. It takes hours to submit an offer, negotiate on the phone, go back and forth, and then go with your buyers and try to like calm their nerves and everything. It takes hours out of the day. I don't want to waste my time doing it, and I don't want them to go through that hardship of the roller coaster up and down. It's either we're going to get it, or it was way out of your budget, or it's just not worth it. It's one or the other. I'm not wasting time between. Now, if you're newer here, submit the offers. You guys need the learning steps. You guys need to go through it. Everyone's going to be different. You guys need the steps. Like if I was brand new within my first 24 months license, and this is what I did, I don't give a fuck about the price point. I don't care if it's a $100,000 mobile home. I don't care if it's a $10 million mansion. You guys need repetition. You guys need to be out working with all the buyers, all that stuff. You can go to all these master classes. You can do all the role playing. Once you get in that field, it's a whole different ball game. So you guys just need the repetition. Plus, you got to be thinking long term. You don't want to rely on Zillow. You don't want to rely on Movado. You guys want referral business. So the more transactions you do, the more opportunities of getting referred by them. All because this buyer was only worth $500K doesn't mean their friends, family, and colleagues have a bigger budget. One of my lowest ones in South Richmond, my first job was a $530K sale. They referred me over $13 million. Their friend group are all high in tech, all 1.5 plus in Berkeley. But I gave them the same treatment. I treat all my clients the same. I don't care if it's 100K or 30 million. You get the same treatment. You get the same TV. I don't care how rich you are, how poor you are. I don't care if you're a janitor. I don't care if you're CEO. This is everyone's biggest investment they're going to make, no matter what price point you're looking at. So treat it the same. If you're going into your first $2 million listing appointment, don't get nervous. It's the same thing as a $250K condo. Stop thinking about the number. Think about the person. Bond with the person, not the number. Does anyone have any questions or anything that you guys are going through with negotiations or anything? I'm pretty sure this is it.
Well, I got a client that's shopping in Berkeley, and I haven't sold anything there yet, but I'd love to pick your brain about all those extracurricular ordinances and things that we don't have to do out here.
Yeah, say a prayer. It's rough out there on the buy side.
A lot of those listings are listed 2/3 of what they actually want.
Oh yeah, it's bullshit. If they want 1.5, it's listed for $799. It depends on neighborhood, like North Berkeley, Westbury, yeah, and you're new, it's cliquey out there. So it's if you're right on the same one as me and I call them, I'm gonna get it. Like, it's clicky as hell out there. When I came to Contra Costa, I was like, damn, you guys are nice. Because Alameda County, if you ain't part of that clique, you're not even in the scene. You're not even thought about. But so in Berkeley, it's city transfer tax, which is big. Like I said, under 1.6 is 1.5%, above 1.6, 2.5%. Base load energy report, you'll see it. You need the seller at least need to get a 6 out of 10. Now that's 2026, seller has to do it. Then you got the sewer lateral. And then, God forbid, it's the city of Alameda and Berkeley, the worst thing is to do work on your house. Like, dead ass, you have to get a permit to power wash your house. So if your clients see a home, it's like, hey, I want to remodel the bathroom and stuff, the permit process alone can go up to like 6 to 18 weeks. Like, it's a pain in the ass to work out there. Like, once a pickup truck pulls up in front of your house, neighbors are calling the city. Like, Berkeley's its own little world. You'll get, once you're in it, you'll get used to it. I hate it. I love the price points. But the length with your buyer from start to finish is a little bit longer. It is harder, and you got to get them used to that. So if their budget's like 1.2, they're only going to afford South Berkeley. And at that point, you might as well buy in Oakland because you're paying Berkeley prices to live in Oakland. So depending on what's their price point?
I think they could probably go up to 1.2, but they want to make it, well, actually, they just signed an offer on this condo that's listed for like 5 something, and they're offering 640, but I think they need to offer more.
Not for condos. Condos are hit all over the
But
place.
it's like this architectural.
Yeah, it's like the industrial, kind of looks like this. They build like all these, that's the new hip thing right now. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to worry about condos. I'm talking about single family houses, it's hot. Condos, townhouses, you don't have to worry about. It's easy to negotiate. It's the same terms like city tax, stuff like that, but in terms of like getting your offer accepted, it's easier.
Yeah, well, I talked to the listing agent because I'm always transparent. I'm like, I've never sold in Berkeley. Like, which don't I know that I should know? She was really open about sharing some stuff, but she was like, yeah, I think it's probably going to go for high 6s, low 7s, and of course she's.
So next time if you write another offer, don't ever tell a listing agent
Well, I
that.
submit the offer.
Okay.
I'm glad I showed up today.
Okay, but don't ever call a listing agent and say, I don't know about this city. Reach out to Slack, see if there's any Berkeley agents. Even call like a title company in Berkeley and be like, or just Google or go on Zillow, top like agents in Berkeley. Call someone that has nothing to do with the deal. Because you call me and tell me that, I'm gonna be friendly. You're gonna think I'm your best friend. I'm gonna be squeezing the shit out of you and you won't even know it.
Yeah, it's fine. We're going to send the best offer anyway. It's all good.
Yeah, but you gotta think about your buyer though, because condos are hard to sell, so like they don't appreciate the same. So as a buyer's agent, right, someone in this room called me about like a negotiation. I said, hey, it's your business, but if I was you, this is such a unique property in Rockridge, I wouldn't have my buyers buy it because when they call you gotta think about it. When they call you, if you do it right and you stay in touch and they call you to list it in 4, 5, 6 years, right? And it lost the value. When you help them buy, they love you. They call you and you're like, your home's not worth that no more, and this and that, they fucking hate you. Guess what they wanna do? I'm gonna talk to an attorney. You didn't tell me about that. Even if you told them about it, because it was all verbal, you didn't tell me about that. Yada, yada. That's why I always have it in writing. An email or anything, I have it in writing. So if they come back to me, like this Alameda one, if they still want to move forward, if I'm advising them not to move forward, I'm having it in writing on an addendum. I am not listening to my buyer's agent's advice. He did his due diligence. I'm gonna word it to where it says like, hey, when you're trying to do the foundation in the future, here's the addendum. Hey, I told you, don't fucking buy it. So it's like, you got to think about future terms. At least I do. When I work with my buyers and I walk through, I'm also thinking about the resale in the future. Can we add value to it? Is this a niche property, like a small condo? Like there's one condo complex in Alameda that everyone's like, oh, why is everything $700K and that one's $400K? I know why. So I tell my clients, yeah, it's a good deal right now, but don't expect, it doesn't mean it won't, but don't expect to make a lot of money out this when you go to resale.
Well, yeah, I always tell people
Yeah.
determine what the future holds for you.
And just put that in an email so you have it in writing. I have my TC screenshot it and put it in the file.
Yeah, these are young, first-time home buyers. They just want a nice place.
Yeah.
I appreciate, yeah.
Yeah, no, Berkeley buyers, they're dope. Some of them are like, dude, I love Berkeley. I don't get the hype around it. Like 2 bed, 1 bath for 1.6 million. I don't get it. I love Solano. It's nice. I don't get the hype around it. Anyone else? Yeah.
You mentioned you give a spreadsheet of the cost of the credits like you see on the home inspections. Do you do that every time you ask for credit?
It depends. It depends. Sometimes like I pre-negotiate on the phone. So if they're kind of like hitting me hard back, like thinking like, then I'll do it, yeah. But then I always do like the sheet for my buyers anyway. So even if like they want it or like listing agent needs it or I think I should give it to them, I just send it to them. I already have my buyers go through it. So like when I'm reviewing the disclosures with my buyers, like I'm going through everything. Because there's a lot of things that like they call as a section 2 that like it actually could be a section 1. They just can't visibly see it. Like stuccos, right? Stucco houses. You're supposed to do test holes. We don't do them because a lot of times there is water damage in the wood framing, and that's a very expensive, especially with a pest company, that could be like 40, 50K. So we don't do them. So I let my clients know, you don't do them yourself. We'll keep deferring that issue to the next buyers when you go to resell. So there's little things that like I call out that aren't really called out as like action items. But yeah, I do send it just to, like I said, because they're gonna get personal. Why are you asking me for $20,000? It's a lot of money. So this is why.
What's your conversation like on the other side? So like as a buyer's agent, when you're calling a listing agent, like getting some information, what's your conversation as a representative or seller?
Like on the listing side, and someone calls me, I'm like, cool. What are you guys coming in at? Like, I don't want people to waste their time either. Like my Berkeley listed, we were gonna have like 20 offers. All of them were not close to what we were actually gonna be to. I was like, don't waste your time, don't waste your buyer's time. Like, I don't want to present 20 offers. So if they're like, hey, I want to write an offer, I'm like, what are you thinking of coming in at? Terms, stuff like that. Now this is a test for two reasons. One, if it's so low and they can't get to where like we want to be or what it's worth, don't waste your time. We appreciate it. Or two, if we talk and we're in agreement, I'm like, yeah, that could work. You know, it'll be like some small minor tweaks and stuff like that. And they submit it and it's different than what we talked about. Now I'm about to fuck you up. Like now I'm about to like get you on shit that you don't know about it. But most of the time it's just talking like a normal conversation. Like I'm trying to fill them out. Like, are you chill? Do we have the same personality? Are you gonna be stern? Are you gonna like make this like 5-day contingency period like so strict? Like the listing agent for Vallejo, she was calling like 20 times a day for the appraisal to come back. And I'm like, dude, chill the hell out. Like, is this your only pending like transaction? Like, dude, she was calling the damn lender. The lender called me. He's like, yeah, I've never talked to a listing agent this much. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna block her shit. Like, she's annoying me. But it's like, I'm trying to fill them out and then also fill the client out because it's on the sellers. I have some sellers to where like, it's not about money. Like, of course they want to make a lot of money, but like they grew up in that house and they tell me straight up, I don't want a developer to come and wreck this house. I want it to go to a family. I've had a seller take $200K less. Even though I'm advising her, this is your retirement, at the end of the day, she's gonna do what she wants to do. So like when you're calling me, it's the same thing. I'm just talking with you. Like, hey, are your clients, are they at least DU by the lender? They have desktop underwriting. What's their down payment? I don't care if it's FHA, conventional VA. Everyone gets scared about that. I've worked with them all. It's totally fine. If work needs to be done to meet those guidelines, I have people that can do it fairly cheap. So it's not an issue. I also I don't mind, like we make good money. I don't mind like, some listing agents, buyer's agents, they get so stern on what they make, they'll let a deal fall through. If I need to pull like 3, 6, 7 grand out of my commission to make the deal go through, I'm gonna do it because I'm doing what's best for my buyer. I'm not gonna make them lose that house because I wanted to make the extra 7K. And then on the flip side, yeah, you didn't get that deal to go through, but you just spent another 6 months showing that same buyer houses to finally get the extra 7K. Like I'm doing what's best for them. So if it needs to, and there's no way to work the numbers in terms of the contract on buying and the selling side, I don't mind throwing my own money into it to get the deal done for my buyers. And I let them know, and they're so thankful for it because they're like, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, it's cool. I'll make it back on the next one. So it's like, there's so many divots to where I see too many deals fall out of contract. Like out of the 100 and whatever deals I've done, I've only fell out of escrow once. And I'm hoping this one will be second because I don't want them to get this house. But like, I don't mess around. On the buy side, I make sure my buyers are all prepped up to where you don't fall out of contract. We don't write the offer because they know there's X amount that needs to be done on the inspections already. They're okay with it. Okay, they're desk right underwritten. Right before, if they got pre-approved like 2 months ago, we're calling the lender. Is there any other documents you need? Was there any change? Did you spend up a credit card? Are you good? We're good on that side. So we got the buyer's investigation and we got the lender already taken care of, right? The appraisal is easy. I look up the comps and you can comp it out and make sure it's gonna appraise. If it doesn't, I let them know ahead of time. Hey, this is a very unique 700 square foot home in Berkeley. These ones are like 900 square feet. There might be a gap of like 50 to 60K. If they're not okay with it, then we leave the appraisal and I tell them probably not get accepted, so mine's not right, or we just move on to the next house. But if they're okay with that, you just checked off all the contingencies. Now we're contingent free and we're good to go. We don't fall out of contract. You make it smooth. A lot of agents are lazy and they wait till they get in contract and then they have stressful escrow because now they're doing all this to make sure every item's checked. I do it all up front. Because I want to know, am I going to waste time with this client too? Like, I don't want to be wasting 4 months of my Saturday and Sundays, and then once we go and they're like, oh, we got changed job employment, or we actually can't afford this, or we're not even pre-approved. It's like, I get everything knocked out ahead of time. Same on the listing side. Everything like when they say like, what are we going to list it for, right? It depends on the city on the bait price strategy, but also in the comps, but also the reports. Like if he gets a pest report and there's like 50K worth of items, that's going to reflect on our sales price because comps might be 600. We can't sell for 600 if we have 50K on it. So then we might have to price a little bit lower and let buyers know this is why we're lower because the reports are high. So it's all like just each transaction is variable on like the personality you're working with in terms of your client on each side, the personality of the agent on each side, and the lenders on each side. Like it's hard to just give you like a playbook of what to do every time. Yeah.
On the seller side, when you talk to a seller, are there like red flags that you have a conversation with and, you know, kind of really, it makes you decide right there that this is not going to be worth it?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, I don't get nervous when I go to listing appointments because I'm doing the interviewing. I don't know if I want to work for you. Where people will get nervous because you're like, I want this deal. I don't know if I want to work with you. Like I said, I don't get paid to list a house, and it looks bad on my reputation if I'm like all my listings sell in market for 90 days and then they get canceled and someone else takes it on. So like what I go in is, one, are they realistic about price? Two, do they actually want to sell? Why do they want to sell? You know, some people say they want to sell and they get too attached to it. Once you start doing more listings, you'll get offers come in, great offers, and they're kind of still hesitant on taking it, or they take it a little bit personal, like, oh, they didn't like the way my kitchen looked. I'm like, it's not your kitchen no more. We're selling it. It's over with, you know? So I'm seeing like how realistic they are. Do they actually want to sell? Are they motivated to? Are they realistic in price? And then the most important one, are you going to let me do my job? Are you just going to give me the keys and let me do my job? Or are you going to be one of those people who is CNN, you know, educated and I know real estate more than you know, or my cousin told me about this, or my neighbor's house sold for this? I need to know that. Because I tell them when I get to the appointments and they're unrealistic and like they're trying to do the job for me and I think showing should be like this and I think I should be here for that, I let them know, why am I here? Like, you sound very educated. You sound like you know what you're doing. You know you can sell for yourself. I'll print you all the disclosures you need. You could sell it. Because, and I tell them like respectfully, like that farm in Brentwood, like I told you, I didn't want that. That's a hard ass property to sell. It's probably not going to sell. Not only do you need a $4 million buyer, but you need a $4 million buyer that wants to buy a job because it's a business. And not a lot of people want to do that. So I told the daughter who's doing this, who's the attorney, I told her that. But I said, what I'll do is, because I'm going to spend $1,200 in marketing and I'm not going to see that back more than likely, I'll take it because it's such a unique property. I know I'll get a lot of views on social media, which will bring organic over here. I'll be able to market. I have a $4 million listing. And then thirdly, you have prime real estate where you're located. There's all the pick you farms, my for sale sign. Everyone's gonna call because that's such a beautiful property. There's certain properties where buyers just want to tour it even though they don't have that money, to where I'm gonna get a bunch of organic inbound calls from buyers who might not have 4 million, but they have 1 million. I already got 2 from CEOs in Silicon Valley who have 2.8 to work with. Oh, you want a farm? Cool, I guess I'm gonna have to learn the farming business. I did one showing and it was the guy, I did research on it because I'm not gonna lie, this is the only time I was ever nervous to do a showing because I don't know shit about farming. I know the business side, I know real estate, I've never dealt with like agriculture. It was new. I've done a winery, but it's totally different. And I did some research because you got to study your opponent. Like when you're dealing with like negotiation, I study a listing agent. How do they act if I don't know how? I look at the seller. Oh, they have a BA in blah, blah. Oh, they're an attorney. So I can get a mindset of how are they thinking? Are they thinking numbers? Are they thinking personal? So anything that helps my advantage. So I looked at the buyer, just sold his tech business for $70 million. So okay, I've dealt with tech people a lot and I dealt with super rich people. They're either 2 tech people. They're stern and they're gonna come with their entourage, or it's just gonna be their entourage and they're not gonna be there for it. Or he's gonna come, he's gonna be dressed like me, all like just in sweats and stuff. He's gonna be chill and he's like me where he's more observing. Like when I'm doing conversation stuff, I'm quiet and I'm observing. I'm very talkative right now, but when I'm doing these, I'm observing. I'm observing their movement. I'm observing their body language. I'm observing what they are saying to me because you have to hear what they're saying to be able to give you a direct answer. You can't just think about, like while someone's talking to you and you already think about your response, you can't do that. So with these people, so I brought him in, so I did the research, he owns an 80-acre farm 7 minutes away. So I already know why he wants this farm. This farm's smaller. He doesn't have prime real estate for the storefront. You make the most money from product to consumer. So he wants this farm to sell his mulberries from that farm at this farm. This is the storefront farm, that's the production farm. So I already knew why he was here. So when I met him, put him in the tractor, I went straight to the storefront. I said, the storefront's beautiful, but it's too small. I was like, it needs like, for you to do the you pick and the product to consumer, it needs to be a family experience. It's where they want to post it on social media, where they talk about it, organic marketing for your business. You need to expand. I was like, see all those leaf greens out there? It's a waste of money. That's more of a hobby that my clients are doing. I would expand this out, expand the parking lot so you can fit up to 2,500 people a day. How many are you getting at your farm? Oh, we got 60,000 over 3 months. Cool, well now you can get 100 and something thousand. On top of that, I would make the experience so it's so fun, it's like a Buc-ee's. And he was like, what's Buc-ee's? He started Googling it. And I was like, the gas station in the Midwest. I was like, you ever heard of it? I was like, people literally fly just to go to it because of the experience. That's how I would dress this up. So I was put him on all that. He doesn't know why I'm talking about it. He thinks I'm just thinking that myself because I'm a business person. I already know that's his mindset going into it. So I'm already answering his questions without him asking the questions. And he's just observing. He has to say, Shay's hella quiet. His two assistants in the back are the ones talking. It was like, I felt like I was with like a president or something. Like, it was just like, he wasn't even talking. He was just staring at me, just dead eyes. Yeah.
So I came late. I don't know if you touched on it, but you're a very personable person. I feel like that's one of my best attributes when it comes to real estate. And I've been getting more leads where they're in a higher price point. Do you feel like you want to change your approach when you're in a higher $1 million price point?
No.
Or do you take the same approach?
So I read the vibe. I'm not just gonna go in and start making fucking jokes and everything like that, right? I introduce myself, do little jokes, like little small jokes, you know, like PG-13 baby jokes, you know, like that. And then I like to show my value first, not just like, oh yeah, I know this and that, but like when I'm touring houses, like if I get a Zillow call, right, and they call me on one property, I make sure we tour 4 properties because it's gonna take one whole property to get that trust. And if you're just showing one property and you're trying to get that trust but show them the house, it sounds too pitchy. It's not enough time. So even if they're like, hey, I don't have time to, I keep them in my back pocket after we tour that home, because most of the time that home's not the one they like. I'm like, dude, you got 5 minutes, let's just tour this other one. So you just want more time. So I'm like the Adam Sandler of real estate. I literally show $3 million homes, $2 million homes, all in Berkeley with basketball shorts and flip-flops. And then my black t-shirt. This what I'm wearing? That was my freaking photo. That's my business photo, is me wearing this in a house. I just be myself, because what I always tell people is when you're working with like clients who are different than you, it's stressful, it's a pain in the ass, right? So be yourself, because you're gonna attract the clients who are like you to you. Maybe you are more serious, you're gonna get serious clients. I attract people who like to have fun and like are more like first-time home buyers, because I like to work with people like that. So like I would say is be yourself. I wouldn't say go butcher a listing because you wanna be yourself so much. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, be yourself. You'd be surprised, all because they got a lot of money, they're a lot more happy because they got the money. They don't have a lot of issues, you know? So I'll be cracking jokes with them.
Jokes still hit the same, but I just want to make sure, you know, I'm going in the right way. Like, not being too playful, but like you said, be yourself.
Yeah.
Works for you, works for you.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, like Dom, he had a for sale by owner in Nevada. It was like a $2.8 million one. He was like, should we wear suits? I was like, I ain't wearing no suit. But I was like, respectfully, I'll wear jeans and shoes though, because it's your first big deal. But like, you stop thinking about the price. It's all about the person, right? So you'll know once you meet the person automatically how they are. You know what I mean? Like you'll get a sense. So like when I go through a listing appointment, the first thing I do is like, let's walk through. So I'll walk through the house. What I always tell them is a house is a story, and you need someone to be able to tell that story as a listing agent. It's an art of walking through a home, right? I'll make this real quick because we're probably way over time. But like the first thing is curb appeal. So if the curb appeal's off, the buyer already starts with a negative mindset when they go in. Depending on the floor plan, you walk in and it's like, okay, here's kitchen. So kitchen's gonna be the second step in when people come through. You gotta make sure that looks nice. And then it might lead you to the hallway. And then it might lead to this bedroom. It's all like, it's like a venture quest. So you gotta know how it walks through. So I walk through to get that sense so I can use it on the back end when we get to business. And then secondly, I'm looking at pictures on the wall. Like, oh, they got a Pizzeria photo up there. I'm gonna bond with that. Oh, they're a sports fan. I'm gonna bond with that. Like, so it's like, I can bond with anything, even if I don't know it. Like, a lot of times it's Disney stuff. I don't know anything about Disney, but my wife's a Disney adult. So I'll be like, oh yeah, my wife loves that, we go every January. You're just bonding with them so you can show you're a human, so their security guard, where they're nervous getting sold, is going down. Once you finish that walk and you're bonding, talking about nothing about real estate, all right, let's get to business. And then I show you my value. So now you got the coolest guy and you got the smartest guy at the same time. Because the 6 listing agents ahead of time, they all came with the same CMA book, with the same fucking comps. I studied that the night before, so it's all in my head. And then I used to keep because the Compass ones we did at the office, I would keep it in my car. So I would leave afterwards, knew it was locked up, go to my trunk, take it out, and knock back on, and be like, oh, by the way, here's your 7th book that you got. To show them like I didn't need that shit. Because I'm the expert here. Even if I've never been in that city in my life, I'm the expert here for that 30 minutes. Yeah.
Cool, there we go. I think it's impossible to remember everything, but there was a lot of good stuff. I think one of the things that the takeaways from this is every single little thing that he touched on, like, don't try to do it on your own. You gotta like, before you talk to that listing agent, before you talk to your client, before you try to negotiate a credit, you gotta, like, we do it on Objection Thursdays, but you gotta not wait every week. You gotta reach out right away. And I think that's where it's like, that's where the reps come in. So don't try to remember everything and say all the right things a month from now. reach out to us right away. It's not too late, but don't dig yourself in a bigger hole. So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, put your own twist to it and do everything yourself. Like it's on a day-to-day, everyone, you'll get your groove. You're gonna make mistakes. I've had multiple years of trials and tribulations to get to this stage. I didn't just get in the business and start killing it. Like no one does.
Cool.
So.
Hey, give it a friend Rusca.
Thank you, man.
Good job, man.
Sorry, man, I rambled on for hell long.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was already noon.
Yeah, that's it.
You should do like the Grammys where you get the song slowly playing so I get the hint like, dude, shut the fuck up.
And, you know, we could know the tone.
Yeah. I saw you guys stand up and I was like, all right, I'm done.